Hi, everybody. It's Grace. Welcome to Eating Peace this week. Let's talk about body image a little bit today. Because I'll tell you a little story. So, I'm just starting a different new kind of physical therapy for a hamstring injury I had 6 years ago, where I had surgery, ouchie, ouchie, and now have these aches and pains that we're doing physical therapy. And I don't know much about physical therapy, but I'm loving all the new things that I'm learning and what they have me do. So in the most recent appointment that I knew about beforehand, it was when you come, we want you to have your shorts and your running shoes and your running outfit, because we're going to do a gait analysis on the treadmill. We're going to film you when you're walking and when you're running. Okay, great. That sounds cool. Good. Didn't really think about it again. Definitely wore my workout clothes, running clothes, shorts. And when I went to step on the treadmill, once I had arrived at the office, and start walking on this treadmill, the physical therapist said, I'm just going to be filming from behind and then over on the side, and then we're going to have you run, and I'll film you. You just keep on moving forward with the treadmill, and I'll tell you when to speed up. But what came through my mind? There's a film. A film is happening from behind. That means my booty is going to be on there, and my thighs, and they're going to be shaking and wiggling and cellulite, and I'm going to be watching that. I'm going to be seeing it. This physical therapist will be seeing it, almost like a thing inside. I really don't know if I want to see that. That just flashed through my mind. It also was kind of not there as a thing to believe, but it was if I knew I wouldn't choose to see this on purpose, and yet here I am seeing this on purpose. But like something is like, I don't know if I want to see that. And then picking up the pace and doing the running naturally and running the way I run, and thinking they're filming this from behind. And that's my crux. That's my place where I initially first had the most judgmental and cruel thoughts about my body. The thighs not looking just perfectly right. Something being wrong with them. Different people have different parts of their bodies, their bellies or their arms or their entire legs, something. But in this respect, we're talking about weight and how it's supposed to look. But just think about the amazing conditioning in that. When you're a baby and you're born, you do not think, oh my gosh, those heavy people that are so overweight, and any meaning that's on that whatsoever. Of course, when you're a baby, you don't even really see people that way. But let's just say as you move up into childhood, even people who feel like they've been plagued with an overweightness since they were 5 or 6 years old, still have memories of not paying much attention often to that weight, and certainly not having judgments of others that had that weight. There's just lack of development, but just awareness that I'm a human being and I've experienced life, and I know how to see without those kinds of things that are put on heavy fatness and what it means, or extreme thinness and what that means. So often there's some descriptive things around it that are kind of guessing, just coming to mind, and we don't really know if it means it. It's amazing to question. So if I showed you a silhouette of a really heavy set person and said, what do you think of them? The stories can be immense. There's something wrong with them. They're too emotional. They're addicted to food, and what even that means. They're overeating, and that means they're out of control. They have no pride. They don't try hard. They're lazy. you know what the list is. You could probably start it and begin to write it. What are the worst qualities of this image that we have? Heavy in weight person. And then I could show you a silhouette of a very, very thin, very, very skinny body. Very thin body. 0 fat% body. And we might say, okay, what are the qualities of this human figure? What does this mean? And amazing. It means they're powerful. It means they're in control. It means they have people liking them. They're attractive in the world. They're successful. They are good leaders. It's incredible what comes up with people when we ask ourselves and even sit in a group, with what these images mean, what they say about the person that has that body image. And then somebody right in the middle, in the medium, where are they? What does that mean about them? What do we believe about it? And it can be very, very stressful that we have all these qualities put on this shape. And of course, here I am, like such a deep and old thing of having like shaky or saggy or jiggling legs that aren't smooth and rock hard and muscular and tight and strong and lean, that it means there's something wrong with me, and it means there's something unappealing and unattractive. And what does that mean? It's a great line of inquiry. What do I think that means? What does that mean for me? People won't respect me. I'll just be mediocre. People will be wondering, really? You used to run cross country? I can't believe it. It's very like negative and bitey with that. Just the thoughts about the self. Something, just boils down to, I could be rejected. There's something wrong with me. There's other people's eyes looking at me, and there'll be a decision made, and it means I'm out and they're in. You see, as soon as we talk about it and identify it, something can maybe even seem absurd, kind of rather absurd about it. Who would we be without our story that that's what it means? I mean, can you absolutely know it's true, bringing the work into this, that this body shape means the list that you've given it? Can you absolutely know that that's true, that that's what it means? You know it's true that if you show up this particular way, or if this body part has that particular shape and size and smoothness or lumpiness, whatever's going on there, can you absolutely know it's true that that's unacceptable, or it means out of control or emotional or powerless? Can you absolutely know that that is true? That's what it means. Really interesting. And especially, can you know it's true forever, that that's what it means? So what happens when you believe this body shape equals these qualities? I mean, we just get hell-bent on getting the perfect body, and we all know people or have heard of it, but really taking this in, that people get that perfect body and they are still not happy. They still didn't find the complete quality that they were thinking there, like being powerful, being in control, having it all together, feeling peaceful, being happy. It's not there, even though the body looks like a magazine. So who would you be without the thought that this quality that's on this body, whether it's a heavy set body, we're not in denial about it. We're still looking, but without the belief that that's what it means, that we can know what that means in that situation with that body as it shows up. Who would you be without the story that having this kind of body means this negative list, or this positive list for that matter? Who would you be without that story? It's kind of like, huh? What? I do notice we aren't our body. I mean, if you were in an accident and you had your legs cut off, that's kind of gruesome. Forgive the gruesome image, but if you did, you'd still be you, right? You'd just be you that had gone through something with the legs cut off. Then if you had your arms cut off, it'd be the same thing. Or any other kind of change. You're still you, just, then there's some, it's not as if you don't have the body at all and there's nothing to do with, I mean, yes, you're in a dance with this body. This is your envelope or your little container, your little vehicle. So what I noticed is moments later when I was at that physical therapy appointment doing this gait analysis thing and watching those images come to mind with being filmed, is then I'm sitting in a chair right next to this expert analyst, and we're looking at a picture of me on a screen running, and I had the thought, the immediate thought was, oh my gosh, that's just so cute. Look at that cute little body running along. And she showed me some other people's gaits, people I didn't even know, just human being running, walking on a treadmill. And how fascinating to discuss the little nuances of how your heel might be landing or what's going on with pronation and other fancy things like that. Fascinating. But just the joy of looking at this body and noticing that it reminds me of sisters and mother and all the things that I've inherited genetically in this body from those others. But how sweet it is to just look with love at that body, to notice who you are without your belief that it means anything. You don't need to be horrified or scared or rejectable, worthy of rejection. Wherever you are, whatever's going on with the body, let's turn it around. It does not mean that. It's not even bad that that's there. The jiggling, the bouncing, the shape. Can I even look at that body wearing glasses that are kind and compassionate, and just noticing it doesn't mean something isn't changing, but the acceptance. I find what is a more likely way that this body will shift. And let's say you want to become healthier, like you know what healthier even is, but let's just say, how do you think that's going to be more likely to happen? If you feel love when you look in the mirror, or a tenderness or a willingness to be loving and kind to this neutral, natural entity that you see, or if you're going to be full of hatred towards it. How is it most likely to soften and change? I find the greatest changes that I've ever made within have been done with a kindness and a gentleness and very compassionate, loving approach. Those are the ones that also became permanent, like just forever. Something shifted and changed, and it was no longer ever that mean, intense, or something that I had to hold on to tight. No willpower necessary. So if we just practice a little loving kindness, I mean, I also notice if you have loving kindness for yourself and acceptance for who you are, it's okay to notice that you may want to go in a different direction, and that love and sharing for yourself, that care, that attention, as if you can really trust you to be a nurturing parent, not a critical one with yourself. It's more inspiring for the movement. Like, you don't feel like eating as much if you aren't filled with self-hatred. If you feel lots of self-love, whether it's the body or how you're showing up, or me, I could even feel like this little sweet, like that's so cute. You're almost 60 years old and you're having a gait analysis, and we're not going to be running any races, but What an interesting thing. I don't know. So, just like the sweetness of that, um, and noticing that when you feel kind and accepting and humorous or whatever towards yourself, like a lightness beside outside of that incredible energy of self-hatred and self-criticism that can come, when you feel that, you are less interested in eating. Anytime that I ever binge ate or dove into the food or started grazing all night, there was something that was not restful. There was either a little bit of a haunted feeling of boredom and dissociation happening, or greater, like actual fear and anxiety running through me, trying to ground down. So it was always uncomfortable. Always that was happening whenever I ate off balance. There's off balance thinking, off balance eating. So let's just bring a little tenderness to our situation and know we're doing the best we can. Give yourself a little love. Just try it. If you can't do it full length in the mirror, if that's really hard, it certainly used to be incredibly hard for me. You could just start with some part of you. Look at yourself in the mirror and look at some part that you do find you can accept. And then just see if you can expand the circle out a little. And put your hand on your heart. Who would I be without my story of the body and other people and what they're thinking about it? Who would I be without that story? All right, let me know how it goes.